Got a package in the mail. So Colonel is devouring his mouse meal. He isn't at all nervous about my being around him. I am not sure how many generations these corn snakes have been raised in captivity, but I'm thinking for 30 years or more. And I think that some snakes have been selectively bred not only for their colors, but for their dispositions. I think corn snakes may have been one that started out with a, generally speaking, a friendly disposition, one that was not aggressive towards humans, non-prey items, and it simply doesn't behave like a bull snake would out in the wild. Possibly a corn snake out in the wild would behave in a manner similar to bull snakes. I don't have any experience personally with a wild corn snake, but I have with bull snakes. And in eastern Oregon, bull snakes have a very much of an attitude to protect themselves. They behave in a very aggressive manner, especially when they do not have a ready means of escape. They will actually attack a full-grown human, come at them, biting, hissing, and in general just making a very aggressive movement towards them. Now, there's no chance of a bull snake injuring a human unless the human bent down and allowed the snake to possibly bite him on the nose or something like that, where the snake's teeth could cause a little blood to come out. But a bull snake's attack is just bluff, but it's an excellent bluff because it's a very sincere thing. I would be curious to find out if anybody has knowledge of aggressive behavior in wild corn snakes. Wow, isn't that something, the way that mouse is just going down that throat of his? I just think that is so amazing. You can see how big that mouse's leg is compared to a thigh, is compared to the snake's eye. And he's got a writhing motion in his body that snakes the food, play on words, down its throat and into its belly. And that lower jaw just works. It has muscles in it that allow it to reach forward in a rhythmic manner and pull just a little bit more of the snake, of the mouse, down into its mouth until, like at this point here, it looks like it's gonna, if it can get past those hip bones, which I bet it will, in a moment that cheek is going to stretch right over that hip bone, and the jaw will come around like that, and that hip bone will be inside of that snake's mouth. It's worked the left side of its cheek around that mouse's hip, and is now working down for the mouses would be going into his right cheek area. I'm going to move around here to this side. Oh, it's going down really fast. The mouse is now almost totally engulfed by the snake, and here again, Colonel doesn't seem to mind at all. That mouse tail is looking like some sort of strange tongue sticking out of the snake. Now, I think from this point on, this is where I would sneak in a piece of beef heart if I was going to sneak in a piece of beef heart on Colonel. His jaws are slightly apart, and I could just put that beef heart right there in his mouth, and he'd just continue to swallow it down with the mouse. And it would give him a more substantial meal, depending on how big the beef heart was. I usually never handle my snakes at all for at least 24 hours after they eat. 2 to 3 days is probably a better time, but I've never handled them because literature says that while they're digesting their food, it's best to not get them to regurgitate. And as far as keeping nourishment in their body, that's why I fed it, there's just still a little bit of inch of tongue sticking out of Colonel's mouth now. The idea is to keep the nourishment inside of the snake, allowing it to get the sustenance that it needs from its meal, and to grow, and to, do what snakes do. And that's just mostly, in the case of corn snakes, just hang out until the next meal. They may be very experienced or very adept at escape from different enclosures, but it's been my experience. Look how that neck is just sort of sucked in. That's peculiar. No, it's just stretched out, and it's maybe taken a while for it to go back into shape. It's just had a huge mouse go down it, and so that stretching is what has gone on there. I haven't tried to measure my snake in length for quite a while, and the last time I weighed him, well, there he is. Last time I weighed him, he was 307 grams. Now, that's pretty good size, and I'm sure he's more than that now with that big old mouse in him. But as far as length, this tub is maybe 20 inches across. They are just amazing. I love the way they move their body and are able to move around. Right now it doesn't look like he's really trying to move very much. On a smooth surface like this, a snake should have easy purchase, but his rhythmic moving is most unusual. I think it's unusual. It looks like he can't escape, and I know that nothing could be further from the truth. I know that if he wanted to, he could just reach up and go right out of this container. It's almost like he's enjoying the slipperiness of the surface. Of course, I could reach in there and help him out just a little bit. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a snake. He is quite large. I'm going to put him back into his container. And hopefully this amount of movement will not cause him to regurgitate.